A funeral should be quiet reverence. It is a deeply personal time. My father's memorial became a stage. My family showed their true colors. They chose callous judgment over sorrow. Dad died only 2 days ago. The atmosphere became a bitter carnival. Whispered slights filled the solemn air. I stood by the front door. My hands trembled against a photograph. Dad smiled by his fishing boat. He was my steadfast and solid pillar. He was the only one who saw. Madison swept in fashionably late today. Her coat screamed high-end luxury boutique. There were no tears on her face. She didn't glance at the photo. She glided past me like a stranger. Let's see what he left us. Her casual cruelty pierced me deeply. I stood stunned by her words. Guests pretended they did not hear. Dad's voice echoed in my mind. Money reveals a person's true self. Madison smirked at every kind condolence. She yawned during the heartfelt eulogy. I gave up a weekend for this. Her greed was becoming utterly unbearable. I went outside for fresh air. The funeral director joined me soon. "Are you all right?" he asked gently. I lied and said I was. "Your dad spoke of you constantly." That statement shattered my cold composure. I wept in the parking lot. Madison never asked how I felt. She only thought of the inheritance. Things were about to get worse. She tapped her glass after service. "Can we drop the sad talk? Let's get to the legal will." A heavy silence fell over everyone. My aunt gasped at her rudeness. Grandmother slipped away to the restroom. Indignation crept up my neck now. I held a secret Madison didn't. Dad revised his will last year. He called me to his room. He was frail among medical machines. Madison only appears for gain. You came when I had pain. One day it will all belong. I thought he meant the memories. His lawyer called a week later. The legacy went to the right. Madison was oblivious to the change. Her smug confidence was borrowed time. I was the overlooked background figure. I was now the sole executor. The silence was about to break. I stood outside the law firm. Anxiety formed a knot in stomach. I clutched a very important folder. It held letters and financial records. I had a sealed envelope for. I had our fishing photo from. Madison arrived late yet again today. Her luxury car took to spaces. She wore oversized sunglasses and coffee. Her fiancé trailed behind her half asleep. She groaned at the sight of. "I have a manicure in hour." We entered the polished conference room Dotmer. Ellison stood at the head. He gave me a knowing nod. "No copies will be distributed today. Everything will be read aloud here." Madison rolled her eyes at him. Always so dramatic. She muttered low. This will was 9 months old. It nullified all previous legal versions. Dad insisted on a personal message. I hope I made the world. One treated my home as transaction. The other cherished it as duty. Madison's smirk began to falter now. She gripped her phone very tightly. "You visited once for 10 minutes. You inquired about the house only." Madison gasped in the heavy silence. "That's untrue. I had commitments." She Dotmer. Ellison raised a firm hand. The letter was not yet finished. Emily was never the boisterous one, but she was always truly present. She was my tranquility and caregiver. The room held its collective breath. I bequeath Madison my gold wristwatch. Time is precious and not guaranteed. Madison let out a disbelieving laugh. "You're kidding. Just a watch?" To Emily, I leave my residence. I leave my savings and investments, and the lake cabin for fishing. I fought back tears of validation. Our connection was not a figment. Madison shot up from her chair. "This is outrageous. He was manipulated. You poisoned his mind." She screamed Dotmer. Ellison extended the sealed envelope. "He wrote you a letter, Madison, only if you contested the decision." She snatched it with trembling hands. Her expression morphed into profound embarrassment. She felt a pale seething rage. Tears welled in her angry eyes. She was losing all her control. Dad gave her the unvarnished truth. She slammed the letter on table. "You get everything." The quiet one. I slowly stood to face her. "I was never second," I said. I was never loud enough for. You are nothing without his money. I offered her a gentle smile. He gave me everything but for things. She stormed out and slammed door. Her fiancé looked awkward and bewildered. He mumbled an apology and left. Your father was right, Ellison said. I was inheriting more than fortune. I was going to leverage it. 3 months later, I was at. The cabin smelled of pinewood smoke. I watched ripples on the water. I held a signed sales contract. I sold an old investment property. I received 3 times the value. I was building something far greater. The story of the will viral. Someone leaked the reading of Will. People dubbed it the satisfying inheritance. Madison vanished from all social media. I launched the Henry Aldridge Trust. It provided grants to family caregivers. I funneled half the inheritance there. I bought apartments for single mothers. I started a scholarship for daughters. I invested in my own startup. I remembered the old family reunion. I was called the one who. Dad once said I never amounted. I swallowed the humiliation that day. I acquired the family reunion hotel. I used a discreet holding company. Madison RSVP'd for the next reunion. She was trying to be influencer. She used the viral clip fame. The family arrived with dismissive comments. Dessert was served to the guests. The guest services head walked in. Gratitude to our gracious host tonight. Our very own hotel owner, Emily. Forks froze in midair suddenly. Madison choked on her cold champagne. You own this place? They asked. Yes, I do. I stated calmly. I bought it after Dad passed. It felt poetic. I told them. I was the invisible one here. Madison looked on verge of exploding. You bought it just to gloat. I bought it so you remember. I pay for the spotlight now. The entire room erupted in applause. It was finally genuine and loud. I was the owner of future. Madison approached me after the event. You get to be better then. I stopped letting you dictate worth. Madison left without another single word. I stood beneath the gleaming chandeliers. She had once mocked me there. I raised a glass to rebirth. I chose myself over their noise. The girl who would never amount. Her name adorned the property deed. Emily Aldridge, daughter and the dreamer. I am the storm they missed. The foundation grew rapidly this year. We helped 1,000 caregivers today. My startup launched a new app. It helps families manage elder care. It is called the Presence Project. I hired Mr. Ellison as advisor. He handles all the legal matters. I visited the lake cabin often. I keep Dad's fishing boat ready. I bait my own hooks now. The silence there is very sweet. I found Dad's old leather wallet. Our photo was still tucked inside. I carry it in my purse. Madison tried to sue for more. The judge dismissed it in minutes. She is working at a boutique. She sells the coats she loves. She doesn't have the star power. People remember her from the video. They remember the greed she showed. Character is the only true currency. I learned that in the hospital. I learned that by the bed. Presence is the loudest form love. I am finally heard without shouting. I am finally seen without glitter. My father's house is full of. I kept his old fishing gear. It sits in the hallway pride. The hotel is a grand success. We host many charity events there. I walk the halls with confidence. The staff calls me Ms. Aldridge. I call them by their names. I see the invisible workers now. I give them the first chance. Legacy is not just the money. Legacy is the impact you leave. I am making the world better. Dad would smile at the boat. He would be proud of me. I am my father's true daughter. The watch sits on my desk. Madison never came back for it. I keep it for the time. Time is precious and very short. Spend it on those who stay. Spend it on those who love. I have no more heavy anger. I only have a bright peace. The quiet storm has finally settled. The ripples on water are calm. I am the owner of destiny. I am the architect of dreams. The reunion was the last battle. I won by being myself tonight. I won by showing up always. The chandeliers shine for me now. I am not playing second fiddle. I am the lead in orchestra. The scholarship helped a girl today. She reminded me of my youth. She had a quiet, focused eye. She will build her own hotel. I will pay for her spotlight. That is the Henry Aldridge way. That is my true and final. The sunset over the lake is. I drink the wine and smile. I am not the forgotten one. I am the one they remember. My name is on the plaque. Emily Aldridge, owner and the daughter. I am finally home in skin. The silence is my greatest power. The truth is my brightest light. I am a storm of integrity. I am a legacy of love. Everything is exactly as it should. I am finally and truly free.